protest Monday night in response to the viral video showing a police officer using a stun gun on a handcuffed man. We want to warn you, you might find this video disturbing. After an exchange of words, the police officer pulls the trigger on the stun gun and then asks,
"You want it again?"
No, man.
Shut the f up, you was big and bad.
She could then be heard calling him an explicit name.
She tased him in the back, and she was holding it. She was just holding it there until he started crying.
Jalexis Rice, girlfriend of Micah Washington, says this all started when her boyfriend and two others were changing a tire of the car they were driving. She says that's when the officer in the video pulled up, eventually putting her boyfriend in handcuffs and tasing him.
When I seen it, I couldn't do nothing but cry. I couldn't do nothing but cry.
Following his arrest, Washington was booked into the Pickens County Jail on several charges. He has a bond of $500,000. In a statement, Reform's police chief and mayor said they're aware of the video and the police officer has been placed on administrative leave. However, people attending Monday's rally say they want more done.
She needs to be fired, and I feel like she can leave and go somewhere else and do it if they don't hold her accountable for nothing. You're a police. You're here to protect and serve us. How do we supposed to trust you and this how you treat us?
It hurt my feelings for real.
In the statement from the mayor and police chief, they said in part the department is in the process of turning over all materials related to this arrest to the Alabama State Bureau of Investigation and has requested a thorough investigation into the circumstances surrounding the arrest.
Thanks for watching.
All right. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. All praises to the Most High. There you see the incident where a 23-year-old black man, 24-year-old Micah Washington, down in Reform, Alabama, of all places, being tased, being humiliated, being emasculated by this female Nazi cop who only came to accost him because he was changing a tire. Now, I'm going to play you another video which breaks down the entire interaction. But as you see, that grown 6'4" man was literally crying because he was being tased while his hands were behind his back. He was not resisting. Only thing he asked her was, what are you talking about? And as a result of this video, the multiple charges that were false, that were constructed, that were made up, have been dropped since then. As you see, he was held on jail under $500,000 bond until they figured out that his cousin was recording. And then that is when all of the, pardon the pun, trumped up charges were dismissed. But I'm going to play you this breakdown from We the People, and I'm going to use this in fair use for video and commentary and educational purposes. But this man breaks down the entire video and shows the hows and the whys of why this officer broke several laws in this and why Micah Washington now is the subject of a $20 million lawsuit against this police station.
I ain't doing, but I got gun right there. I'm not doing that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying, what you saying? Oh, yeah, I'm not. Oh, my God.
The video starts with Mr. Micah Washington laying on the ground, but there's a reason he was laying on the ground. Like what took place before that portion of the video. Well, as some of us may already know, or some of us may not, Micah Washington was actually changing his car tire. And police officer Dana Elmore of the Reform Police Department located in Alabama, she pulls up and orders him to give her ID. Well, actually, she asked, "What are you doing?" And he states, "I'm changing my tire." And then she orders him to give ID. But his response was, "Why do I need to give you ID to change my tire?" And at that point, he's on the ground and he's handcuffed. And this is where we see the video clip of actually Mr. Washington's brother, who started to record once he was tasered.
Stand up. Right there on the front of the car. Straight.
I ain't doing, but I got gun right there. I'm not doing that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying what you saying. Oh yeah, for. I'm not. Oh my God. Okay.
Also, what you don't see in that clip, according to Mr. Washington and his attorneys, who is his attorney, Mr. Leroy Maxwell of the Maxwell Tillman law firm, what you don't see in that clip is Officer Elmore placing her foot on Mr. Washington's back as she calls another officer. From that point, we get to where he was tasered, brought over to the car. Now, there's a lot that go into this, and this is definitely going to take some very strong eyes from some very good attorneys, because there are not only just, there's tons of laws being broken here, several, and I'm sure we all know that just by simply looking at the video. But there are probably some laws being broken that are not, like, you know, just apparent to, you know, the average viewer. But she takes him over to the car. That's where we see her place him on the car, and when she places him on the car, she tasers him. Now, here's where things get, if I can even say, really ugly, because they're already really ugly. She tasers him, she pulls out a gun, and then she tasers him after she pulls the gun out. But at that point, the charges that came afterward, here's the problem. But nowhere in that video do we ever see any come out of his pocket. It did not exist. It was completely made up, right? Completely made up. He was charged with being an ex-felon in possession of a firearm. And sources I have spoken with who are closer to the situation have verified that Mr. Washington is not a felon. How is he being charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm? He was charged with resisting. Obviously, we all can see that there was no resisting. He did not resist. He was also charged with obstruction. And obviously, there was no obstruction. He was also charged with possession of marijuana. All right. I don't know about that one. That could be a possibility, but even if it's true, that's no reason for all of this to transpire, the things that we saw. So these charges were trumped up, right? Here's the key part. The Reform Police Department did not know a video existed until later. So when these charges were being created out of the thin blue air, they had no clue that there was a video. And when the video surfaced, the charges began to disappear. So a trafficking charge was thrown out. The ex-felon charge doesn't exist. Now they might try and stick with the resisting or the obstruction, which I don't see how that would happen. Anyway, that can't happen anyway. But I just want to add those few things to the video. Let's look at the video again and just pay attention to everything that's happening. And remember, there's a lot that happened before the video, this particular video, that the Reform Police Department did not know exist. There's a lot of things that happened before this video started recording.
Yo, down, oh my fault. Oh my God.
You want it again?
No, man.
Chuck, if you was big and bad, shut your mouth.
Here's one that we all know. Title 18 USC Section 242. Whoever under color of any law, ordinance, regulation, or custom willfully subjects any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to the deprivation of their rights, privileges, or immunity secured or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year, or both. And if bodily injury results from the acts committed in violation of this section, or if such acts include the use, attempted use, or threatened use of a dangerous weapon, which a taser could be considered or is considered a dangerous weapon, explosives, or fire, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years, or both. And it results from the act committed in violation of this section, or such acts included kidnapping or an attempt to kidnap. Now, depending on the attorney, he could push for kidnapping because this was completely unlawful. She had no right to stop him. She had no right, no legal foundation whatsoever. She handcuffed him, moved him from one position to another, which by the basics is kidnapping. Or if such acts include kidnapping or an attempt to kidnap, aggravated abuse or an attempt to commit aggravated abuse or an attempt to shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for any term of years or for life or both, or may be sentenced to. Again, several of Mr. Washington's rights were violated. You have the First Amendment when she's telling him to shut up and she's forcing him to shut up because she's tasering him. And so that's taking away his right to free speech. All right. Fourth Amendment. Of course, we all know she searched him illegally. This wasn't a lawful arrest. The Fifth Amendment, they took away his property. And you have the 14th Amendment, which gives all of us the right to equal protection. And he did not have equal protection in this incident. And not to mention, he complies throughout this entire encounter. He complies, and still he's tasered and threatened to be tasered or tortured even further. So Mr. Washington and his attorneys have filed or planning to file a $20 million lawsuit against the Reform Police Department located in the state of Alabama. And we have District Attorney Andy Hamlin, 205-367-9915, 205-367-9915. So if you want to help and let your voice be heard, redress your government, that is the phone number to the district attorney.
All right, so there you see my brother once again from We Are the People, We the People, the community. Shout out to my brother for breaking that video down. You see at the beginning of the video where the guy is being lifted up off the ground. And so the cousin didn't start recording until then. It was alleged that she even tased him and, kneed him all the while, while having him in handcuffs. And why was he in handcuffs? Because he simply asked her, why do you need to see my ID? Because I'm changing a tire. Now, evidently that irritated the Nazi wannabe man cop. And there you saw him thrown on the car, very aggressive. And when she pulls the pistol out of his pants, he literally said, yeah, I got a gun right there. And then she's like, oh yeah. Like, okay, he's not eligible to have a gun. And so when he looks and said, what you talking about? Oh yeah. Then she tases him. And then, she continues to berate him. Shut the F up. You was all big and bad with your BA, and so the fact that she immediately jumped to the conclusion, oh, well, he has a weapon. So yeah, this is you're going to jail. But, according to the people, he is not an ex-felon. And, all police officers, please know that all black men are not felons, but I am. So, and I don't care. But, there was a presumption of guilt just by him having a gun, and she continued on, to tase him, so much so that he was crying, and she asked him, do you want it again? No, ma'am. And that's what white people, these racist people, like to see, is a big black strong man, emasculated, crying, begging for mercy, and they get their rocks off on that. But luckily for Mr. Washington, it was videoed. You saw the other charges that they tried to put on my brother, but there was no fit, as they call it. There was no other D-rugs, and there was no resisting. And so I think, if I'm not mistaken, all of the charges were dropped when this video came out. And you saw in the news video that they're talking about, well, yeah, we're going to hand all over this to the Bureau of Investigation and this, that, and the other. Like, they tripped me out with that. What needs to be investigated other than what we saw on tape? Oh, the circumstances surrounding and what led up to this. All of those are buzzwords for saying, yeah, well, we're going to try to weasel our way out of this the best way we can. But nevertheless, I'm going to show you this last video of the NAACP chiming in, and they are letting their opinion be known once again about this case with Mr. Micah Washington and that piss poor police performer.
Now on the floor, a Pickens County family says their lives have changed forever after a 24-year-old man was tased while in custody.
And we want to warn you, this video is disturbing. You may have seen it already. In the video, you can see the officer tasing Micah Washington right there as he appears to be complying with her orders.
Well, Washington's attorney hosting a news conference this morning with Washington family, friends, and an NAACP representative showing up to support.
Brian Henry joining us now from West Alabama to tell us more about what happens next, Brian.
Well, Sarah Morgan, attorney Leroy Maxwell made it very clear today that the family plans to move forward with a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. Maxwell added that what happened on December the 2nd earlier this month was simply wrong. Micah Washington had a flat tire about 8 miles outside the town of Reform. A Reform police officer stopped to see what was going on, and from there, according to Maxwell, the officer demanded identification. Washington asked why, but later complied. The situation escalated to what you see here with Micah Washington getting tased. In fact, he says he was tased several times.
Mr. Washington was still being respectful, still saying yes ma'am, still saying no ma'am during this entire interaction. Not a threat to her, not a threat to anyone else, but this officer thought that she could get away with something. She thought that there'd be no eyes on this. This is just a normal day in Reform, Alabama.
But when it happened to your family member, it hits a lot different. And I hate that this has happened to my nephew, but at the same time, it needed to be out in the open because he's not the first. And if it wasn't caught on video, he wouldn't be the last.
Leroy Maxwell said the initial charges, such as obstruction of governmental operations and trafficking, were all dropped because Maxwell said those charges were completely false and bogus. The officer remains on leave, and so far, no new comment from the city of Reform. The State Bureau of Investigation is currently looking into the incident.
All right, so there you see the brother is on the. So there you see the brother is on the verge of justice. That news anchor once again stated that all charges have been dropped. So this is an incident that we did not see. Actually, I just found out about this a couple of days ago when it was sent to me. However, this is from 2023. And so this is once again in a small down South Alabama town, where if it were not for my brother's relatives recording, this would have went unscathed, and the brother may have been in jail facing serious charges. But you know, as you see how We the People broke it out, the one who needs to be facing more serious charges is the officer. Kidnapping, violation, all of those things, you know, assault with a deadly weapon, all of those things should be attributed to her. But fortunately, once again, this is a situation where it was caught on tape. But again, where is the justice? That officer is probably still getting paid right now. And the young man probably will get the lawsuit. But of course, the officer, like the cousin said, will probably be shuffled around, moved around to another county, another state, and be able to do this to another person in the near future. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments. 919-587-7782. Peace and blessings.